Well, I'm back in the mountains after having been away for 3 months. I don't know why it seems to be 3 months whenever I go away. It's not planned. I sort of planned to be away for a month and it doesn't work out, and more of that later. But yeah, I'm back in the mountains, so I've not done this walk in some 3 months and I'm very happy to be doing it. And what I can tell you is that we came back and it was still the dry season, but a couple of days after returning, it's now the wet season or the rainy season. We're actually right at the period where sightings of snakes are most prevalent. I've not seen one yet, but they come out of their hibernation looking for water. So maybe we'll see one on our journey. Oh, here are the turkeys again. They're getting bigger, aren't they? Great big things, yeah. As I say, not at all common in Indonesia to see a turkey like this. In fact, a snake would be much more common. You might be asking, what are these snakes that we might see? Well, they're actually yellow-bellied sea snakes, and you're saying, what on earth do we have with sea snakes up in a mountain? Well, we're not that far from the sea, and they've clearly made their way up watercourses and are attracted to the paddy, which when it's flooded must be a bit like the ocean. And being sea snakes, they're quite frightened of humans, so the chances of getting bitten are slim. But if you are bitten, the neurotoxins are very powerful, and well, you need to get to hospital immediately. So yeah, the paddy is now dry, as you can see, although things are a bit greener than they are at times. You know, it's reasonably green. Maybe that's because we've just had a few days of rain. It does make a hell of a difference. Suddenly, what is almost like savanna conditions turn into lush, I suppose you could call it, semi-jungle again. Now these children never wave at me, but let's see if they do. Peggy! Peggy! Da-da! No, never do. Most children do, but remember those children, the other house didn't say hello to me, whereas this one runs out to say hello, don't you? Yeah, isn't she lovely as well? Now, I said I've been away for 3 months, and it always seems to be about 3 months. During the health crisis, I think there was a couple of 6 months. One, not least, that because the UK government didn't issue me with a passport. And I didn't have to be where I was for that time, but it doesn't get sent to you. You know, you have to go to an office in a shopping centre, and then you have to go and collect it from an office in a shopping centre. So, you know, I don't know how long they keep it for, but you have to be pretty smart in getting back to Jakarta. And, you know, I lived 12 hours on the bus from Jakarta. Some people would live thousands and thousands of miles away, you know. Anyway, the reason really why this time it's been 3 months, I mean, we went to Bali, but that was only for a couple of weeks. But our house in Jakarta, we've been spending more and more money on emergency repairs. And I did get sent some of my pension money. Not much, but I'll return to that in a minute. In fact, it wasn't pension money, it was inheritance. But I got sent some, and so we thought, well, before the rainy season starts, there's some repairs we must do. But what precipitated this round of repairs was a wardrobe fell to pieces, and we realised we got very bad RIAP. What's RIAP? Termites, yeah, very bad termite infestation, and so we needed to clear out the termites. Now the termites had eaten away at the ceiling panels, which were made of wood. We've replaced them with gypsum now, So a major job was replacing all of the ceiling panels with gypsum. And what we realised was that I'd been getting progressively worse asthma for nearly 2 years now, and it was probably due to me breathing in so much dust, which of course includes the poo of the termites. And so my intractable problems with asthma, possibly, because I'm going to come to other reasons in a minute, were possibly due to the problems with the dust from the termites. Now, as I say, dust from termites, Indonesia and, well, Jakarta, let's say. Jakarta has gone from having relatively bad air pollution to being one of the worst places in the world. So I convinced myself that that was the reason. And of course that was probably a contributory factor. The other thing is, as you may know, on and off I smoke. I've stopped smoking now as a result, but I'll probably smoke again. And so everybody blames my smoking. Not least as, I do sometimes when smoking have a good old cough. But I think this is typical of modern society. We blame the individual when the real reason, was probably termites, but it could have been pollution. Now, the other reason that you could attribute my illnesses to would be stress related. You see, about 3 months ago I became of UK pensionable age, and 6 months previous to that I started trying to claim them. And do you know what? Not a single one of them was ready to start paying my pension when I reached pensionable age, nor could any of them tell me exactly what I'd be getting. My 2 daughters don't really earn money. My wife doesn't earn money, and I've not earned anything in over 10 years. So my savings were depleted, and I was relying on these pensions, but I couldn't get them. Why couldn't I get my pensions? Well, there was a whole myriad of reasons. But one of the better providers, who would be the university's superannuation scheme, they seemed to be playing a little game that I had to absolutely request a form to fill out before the process started. And despite repeatedly asking for it, I didn't get that form until about a month before I was due to start getting my pension. So there was no way that it would be ready on time. I'm about to get it now, which, as I say, is about, it's going to be 3 months after my pensionable date, if not closer to 4. Why do they all do it? Well, I think there's a myriad of reasons, but we can't discount that they're hoping a certain proportion of claimants die before they ever pay them. Now, as I say, there's a myriad of reasons, and of course, running short of money, seemingly being intractable problems, both my life savings and my parents' life savings, being trapped in the UK, with no way of me accessing them, of course it's caused immense stress on me. So I've been thinking of all sorts of things. Is it to do with anti-money laundering, however ridiculous it might be? I've even been officially told that it's to do with Brexit, which makes 0 sense whatsoever. And in my own mind, is it to do with CDCs? That a hold has been put on major transfers of money overseas until CDCs are instituted. Now, I say there's a myriad of reasons, but one of the providers with whom I had the most money, Aviva, point blank refused to pay me any money, refused to even discuss how I could access the money, and that went on for 6 months. A complaint was raised. I think maybe my financial advisor did it, but he won't admit it to me because it was without my wanting to do it. But that broke through, and they've now completely caved in and done what I needed, and indeed have offered me some compensation for it. The compensation is a fraction of what I believe I've lost, and I'm still debating on what I should do. So, you know, the ones who were the worst turned out to be the best. And I think it was a phrase I used, and I was saying that if they were not in business to provide security in old age, then what were they about? Now, the other reason that I repeatedly rule out and then come back to is the effect of black magic on me. Yes, at times I'm convinced that it's real and having an effect on it, and at others that it's all in the mind. Now, that argument is much deeper than it sounds, and I won't go into that now. But there seem to be patterns with it, and I get asthma and rheumatism, both inflammatory diseases, when I'm troubled with this black magic as I see it. And it comes on what in Western terms would be a Monday and a Thursday night, and I can feel it coming on very, very strongly, a bit like if you've taken a narcotic. It comes on extremely strongly at about 6 o'clock at night. So I got to the market, and who was here but Barcinco? Always puts a smile on my face. So I'll tell you about why I got to believing that black magic was behind our problems. As we were leaving Jakarta, we had 3 major problems that day. First of all, the water stopped working. Secondly, our bus was delayed by 4 hours. They did tell us, but it was delayed by 4 hours. And then what was the final one? Oh yeah, we had a power cut across our little area. Now all this is indicative of a clash of energy when a spell returns to the sender. And look, you're entitled to your own theories about what's going on, just as you are about ghosts and the effect of, black magic, the effect of dust, etc., etc. And I think that's the main point of my talk. I've said it before, but let me repeat it, that our reality follows our consciousness. And I think these different theories about what's going on simply reflect our different belief patterns and how our reality merges with those actual beliefs. And that's what I really want to explore, that whenever we seem to, well, certainly me, whenever I seem to have reached a conclusion, it's brutally destroyed. Thus, all these negative things that have happened to me are actually simply a mirror on my own shadow. It's simply worries that I've had, maybe expressed, coming back to me. So if we worry about CDCs, if we worry about war, etc., and if enough of us do it, then it will be self-fulfilling. And, you know, we seem to get more and more media telling us, yes, you're right, it is a self-fulfilling prophecy. But I just can't help but wonder if it's not a mirror on our own thoughts. A difficult concept, I know. Now, as we're approaching what I consider to be the most beautiful part of my walk down to the village, not as beautiful when there's no paddy, but nevertheless a very beautiful part of the walk, should we be asking, is all this from God? And of course I do believe it is. I do believe God's behind it. So why would God be sending us these tests? Well, I've given the game away by using the word test. that we're meant to learn from these adversities. We're meant to learn how to react to them. We're actually meant to learn that, yes, our reality does follow our beliefs, whereas everything we're told seems to conspire against it. And you know, I'm going to take this a stage further, and that is that I'm increasingly seeing our reality as a wake-up stage in one of our dreams, and our dreams being closer to the truth than what we consider to be the truth. After all, we do live in a post-truth age, don't we? There is so little that seems to be happening that we can believe as being credible. In fact, those people that we think should most be protectors of the truth, journalists, politicians, academics, now appear to be those who most blatantly are willing to bend it. And you know, our reality and what we believe can shift quite dramatically. And I said it was the rainy season now, but I looked out before I left and it looked very sunny and very bright. And now it's looking distinctly like rain. And these are the shifts that occur. So just as I believe that I'm not affected by black magic, that it's simply a mirror, and then all of the telltale signs that I've come to associate with black magic occur, is that not more likely to be how I'm controlling my beliefs? How there are minute shifts going on in my belief patterns than an actual reality or an actual truth? Now, not the reason why we're back now, but certainly something we'll be doing, and that is there's a wedding, and you can see they've already put up the beginnings of the marquee for the wedding. So we'll be attending this wedding here. It's actually a local government officer that we know. Well, everybody knows him because he's the local government officer. But yeah, it'll be in here. And you might be saying, well, you know, is it normal to block off the road for it? And the answer is yes. Not only is it normal to block off little tracks like this, but even quite important roads get blocked off for weddings. Now, you might remember I showed you a marquee being built. Well, I'm down at the bottom of the village, and here's an actual marquee that's been built. So it's got the names of the two people getting married at the front there. You can see there's a bit of a stage. There's always a stage. Yeah? And that's the governorial elections. Oh no, that's not governor. That's the Bupati. That's the local head. So they're coming up. I don't think it's got anything to do with the wedding. But yeah, we're in the village now. Now you've probably got... So I've just walked up a hill, you'll hear me panting a little. You've probably got very different beliefs to me, and therefore hold a different truth to me. But, you know, you may see this as what's happened to me is to do with Satanism. You might think it's to do with an international organisation. You might think it's because I'm barking. Whatever it is, your views fit into a behavioural cluster, and those behavioural clusters are encouraged through behavioural programming by the World Security Services. And during the health crisis, it was revealed that in the UK at least, that behavioural programming was being used against the UK's public. Now, you know, what is truth in a post-truth world? We were all brought up to believe politicians, the media, those in authority, that no way would security services actually try and behaviourally program citizens of the nation they're meant to be protecting. And all has been found to be completely untrue. So, if our beliefs aren't ours, where can we look to for the truth? And you might be saying, well, how come you know? How come you're right and none of us are right? And I'm not right. I know I'm not right. It's just my views. You're welcome to listen to them, and I hope you do. But they're just my views. Now, maybe some of you are getting annoyed with me now and saying, well, we have to believe in something. Maybe you believe in God. I do, you know. Maybe you believe in science. I don't. Maybe you believe in something else. Maybe you believe in capitalism. Again, I don't. We're all entitled to these views. All entitled to these views. But what we're not entitled to do is to try and impose them on others. And that's where I see some of the worst atrocities that go on in the world as coming from people imposing their views on others. People who believe they have the right to do it. And in fact, I'd go further than that. People who attempt to impose their views on others are committing what I consider to be black magic. That's right. So, as far as I'm concerned, evangelical Christians, when they preach the gospel to those who don't want to hear it, are actually engaged in an act of black magic. Unpalatable though my views might be, and as I say, they're simply my views. And you might have been watching my cats, Moochie, and before that we had the stray called Lucky. And you can see these sort of ginger and white toms are everywhere. Look at this lovely little one. Yeah, oh, look at them playing. Just like how Moochie plays. Yeah, so it's lovely to have these small toms. Can I zoom in? Maybe. There you go. Aren't they beautiful, eh? Just like Moochie. Just like Moochie. Can't. Oh, there's the other. Yeah. See, they're all casing each other out, aren't they? As cats do. They're beautiful cats, yeah.